Hello, everybody. Today we are showing featured entries from the January Art Dare, and we are also announcing the March Art Dare. If you would like to grow as an artist and you can't afford an art class, we've got everything you need here at Art Prof: critiques, tutorials, and professional development. The Art Dare in January was to choose a word and design the word to represent what the word meant. So we're looking at right now these thumbnail sketches by Melody Guthrie, and eventually she settled on vase. What do you think, Jordan?
I remember when I first saw this, I thought this was so much fun. I recognized the word immediately. I love the colors, and it's really cool seeing the thumbnail sketches because I guess I must have missed those when I first saw it. But I can see how you had to combine certain letters in order to make the shapes more cohesive, and I think this is excellent, honestly.
I want to read a little bit about Melody's artist statement. She says, I landed on vase because I've been enjoying drawing see-through materials holding liquids or other things. When I started writing it vertically, I noticed that the curves in the A and E create the S when stacked in a particular way. I was going for a modern design that someone could put in their house, so I didn't want the word to be too obvious, but obvious enough that people could find it if looking for it. Yeah, that's a really fun balance because sometimes when the word is super obvious, it's not that interesting. But Jordan, don't you think Melody really pulled off that balance?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's. I think the thing Melly was talking about was just letting the word be too distracting. I think that was the major concern, and that can be very easy when the assignment is literally to illustrate the word you've gotten. And yeah, so like combining it and the motifs and the visual language that you're using makes it very clear, and to the point where if you didn't know how to spell vase or vase, however you pronounce it, I think you could still put it together.
You know what I love about it is the V creates two openings at the top. I mean, your stereotypical vase doesn't have that. Usually there's just one at the top. And so it's just a really fun design to begin with. And then you add the word and the meaning into it. And it's just really terrific. Hey, this is your word, Jordan. I love the vibes of this one.
Yes. You have no idea how many times I said the word vibes yesterday when talking to a friend.
It's your word now.
The word vibes.
Okay, the next artist we're going to talk about is Megan Tiller from the US. And this is Megan's first art dare, which is so fun. We love it when people participate. And Megan says for birthday, which is the one we're looking at here, and also Halloween, I took the elements of the holidays and made them into each letter. Now, this is a word I did not know about, Jordan. This is defenestration. And Megan says, a classmate introduced me to this word. I know I need to include a person being thrown out the window. Have you heard of this word, Jordan?
No, but I've seen it done in movies.
And Megan says, I looked at the reference photos for the word defenestration. One of the people falling out of the window looked like a T. So I made a woman from a workplace falling out of the window in this shape. They made everything into letters. And then Megan also did this one. I tried to make a piece around the theme of food. My goal was for the word made out of food to move. I had a lot of rice in my house. I made the word see in rice into the shape of an eyeball. This is the only entry we have that is 3D out of food. Isn't this great?
That is so awesome. I would have been too tempted to eat the food, honestly. I did an assignment like that and I ate half of my project.
Well, I just think it's really cool that Megan did 4 different words and that every single word is a different type of style, a different design. And that's really great to do so many variations because you really do get to experiment with a lot of different styles. So Seven Angelic says, love that word. It's anything thrown out of oh, so it's not a person. So if I like throw an apple out the window, it still counts.
Oh, I guess so. That's the
I
first time
guess.
hearing this word too, so I'm learning with you.
By the way, everybody, Melody is live with us here in the chat. We looked at Melody's vase design. I'm so happy that you are here. Wonderful. And also, this is really fun that Ginger Cell says, "Oh my God, stick people." I think sometimes people will say to me, "I'm not good at drawing. I just draw stick people." But it works in this design. Why is that, Jordan?
I think it's just the fun and the simplicity of it. I mean, the point of the image is to illustrate the word, and I can tell what every single one of these characters is doing. And I also love just how many varieties of things you can get for birthday, like the cake, the card, the little thing you blow into. What is that toy called? The for the R. I'm trying to remember what it's called, but that thing, birthday cards, presents, all that stuff is all it all I think resonates with everyone. We all understand it, and I don't think it's taking away or distracting from it at all, because that's not the point. It's the objects that they're holding.
I like the little people in the H. I didn't even see them at first, but you have the present and the ribbon. And I just love these falling figures. I think those are hilarious. And this is really cool the way the letters become this circular motion. I feel like a lot of people don't want to do stuff like that with text because they worry about it not being legible. But in this case, I think it really fits the story. And I love all the different shapes, like these little dots on the side. The spider is awesome. I I love the cats. What do you think about the cats?
Oh, the cats are fun. The cats are definitely really fun. I it's it fits the theme so well.
I think Jordan froze for a sec. Anyway, he'll be back soon. All
Also
right.
work with the word hollow.
I think you
Sorry.
froze for a second, Jordan.
Oh, lame. I was complimenting your work.
Okay. Oh, this is cool. Seven Angelic says this invokes Google vibes for me, how they keep illustrating their logo. She could do stuff for them. Oh, yeah, Megan, you should try doing a Google Doodle. I feel like you'd be really good at that. And actually, that's a good illustration prompt that I give people because it's very straightforward and a lot of people have seen it before. Okay, let's take a look at Marissa Mortinha. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Marissa is from Portugal, and I think Marissa was live in the chat. So say hello, Marissa, if you are there. And Marissa says, after a trip to Lisbon, I was inspired to do something related to my country, Portugal. Marissa says, I took inspiration from Portuguese tiles for the colors and design. I must say that coloring each of the 40 individual little squares was an exercise in patience. At the end, I believe the effect I had in mind was achieved, and I'm pretty happy with it. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, you colored all of those by wow, that deserves a round of applause. That looks amazing. I honestly, for a second, I thought that it was like digital and you just like plopped them all together, which would have been fine. But the fact that you put all of that time and attention into this and got it so accurate, um, is it works really well, and I'm highly impressed.
Marissa is live with us here in the chat. We love it when all of you can join us. I know, and the technique is impeccable. I mean, it's so consistent. The lines, the width of it is exactly the same. And you know what I really like? I like that Marissa didn't make the outline of the letters super bold. Why do you think that was a good design choice?
I think it would have taken away from the actual design in the tiles themselves. I think it would have been too distracting. Whereas here, it's kind of a subtle, uh, not quite a second read, but it takes you a minute to get what the word is just by it being placed how it is now. And I think that that actually works really successfully here.
I love that Marissa tied it into her country, that these are Portuguese tiles. And so, Marissa, you have a personal relationship with these designs. They're not just random patterns that you got online. And I just love it when people connect what they're doing with their own experience, their background, because I do think it has more meaning because you have a connection to that. And Pat says, I remember seeing these tiles in the Discord. Love this one. I'd be curious to see this one without the outer edges at all. Oh, yeah. It looks like it's done in pencil. It'd be interesting to see what that would look like because, yeah, I mean, the outline of the pencil, it's so light. I mean, I don't even know that you need it there. And I love that it takes a minute because when you look at it quickly, you think, okay, there's a lot of patterns, but then you realize, oh, wait a second, this is not an accident that they're placed where they are. And Jordan, I like pieces like that where they take a little time to sink in.
Yeah. And, I also think it gives the feeling of regular tiles too, because most people, when they see tiles, it's just kind of a motif. It's kind of a, a vague design. And then in order to really see what's going on, you do have to look at it for a while. So I think it accomplishes that as well.
So people are asking about the material. Marissa says, not digital, it's colored pencils. Thank you. So, oh my gosh, I thought it was marker. That's crazy that it's colored pencil. Wow. That's amazing, Marissa. Wow, you put a
You're
lot
welcome.
of effort. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, let's take a look at Cynthia's art dare. Cynthia says, I have 9 chickens, 6 of which have recently started laying eggs, and 3 bantam, it means tiny, younger chickens. One of the bantams is a silky. Wow, so we have a lot of versions of Cynthia's chickens, and we hear a lot about the chickens in the Discord because there's just no end of chicken talk. They're just so funny. But Cynthia's another person like Megan who did a lot of different versions. What do you think, Jordan? The digital with the full color, and then these which are simple line drawings.
I personally really love the simple line drawings. I don't think I would have thought to do the cockadoodle doo and combine it in the image that way. And it's so creative yet so simple at the same time. So I really appreciate that. And for the digital images, I think it's just fun that you're able to like take these objects from a chicken and just find ways to make letters out of them. Like, I thought that was really, really fun. I was like, "Oh, I guess that could be an H. I guess that could be a K there," Like, so I found that super fun and enjoyable.
You could totally look at this and think it's an image with no text. And then when you discover the text, it's almost like a little Easter egg that's embedded
Mhm.
inside the piece. And then it's really fun to see it in another context because the similar design, but the thing is the colors change a little bit, the photograph in the back. I actually really like this one because the feathers, you figure out that they're feathers, but I love the shapes, like these big, luscious black shapes at the top, and then the light fur. I mean, isn't that a beautiful contrast of texture?
Oh, definitely, definitely. It's the same kind of stuff we say on Art Prop all the time about value difference and, the stark contrast. So, yeah, especially in that image that you pointed out, that one's really strong.
And I just love how elegant these are. I was actually talking to my kid the other day that they're not really teaching people how to use cursive anymore in school. And when I was a kid, everything had to be in cursive. I mean, to the point that your arm was like in pain after you wrote an essay. And I just love how graceful the lines are, and yet they really fit the texture, especially this one. I love this contour, like, I can feel the softness of the belly. I just think that's brilliant. Cynthia says, I would have made the chick letters with ink in Photoshop if they didn't have the subscription model. I know. That subscription thing drives everybody crazy. And then Pat also says, reminds me of Al Hirschfeld's Hidden Words. Look up Al Hirschfeld. He's known for doing these wonderful lyrical line drawings of Broadway stars and celebrities. And he's sort of an old school caricature artist, but I think definitely the rhythm of a lot of your letters here, Cynthia, is showing that. Sarah Blam says the cockadoodle doo is so elegant it would make a great poster. Well, you know what else I noticed about the first couple images, Jordan, is that if you look at the lines, Cynthia changed the width of the lines. They're not all the same width. Some are thicker, some are thinner. Why do you think that helps the design?
I think it's all about that contrast. We were talking about it in the context of value earlier with the feathers, but an image that has a variety of different widths and heights and uh, thicknesses, all that stuff is creating interest. And so by doing that, I think you inevitably made your drawing more interesting.
All right, let's take a look at the next artist. This is Miranda Eastman, and Miranda did this beautiful, I mean, it almost looks like Chinese calligraphy, if that makes any sense. I mean, at first glance, you can't really figure it out, and it takes a minute to really see it. So I just love how bold it is because we've looked at a lot of images so far where the letters are very thin and they're sort of embedded. This is like so bold. So Miranda says, this is the idea of making an item out of its letter representation. If you see faces in wood panels or wallpaper, this is the same quote type of looking. Didn't think I would find anything, but then our cat was sleeping and I saw how his paw was laying across his tail and arching of the back. Cat. So a quick sketch on my phone. I thought I'd play with it more. This is as far as I got with it. Thought the lines were interesting, so I submitted it. So what do you think now that we know it's this beautiful gesture of a cat?
Yeah, out of it, it took me a second to figure out what it was doing. I think this one's even more subtle than probably the base one in a sense, because it is a lot of abstract shapes going on. But then once I hear the explanation, I immediately see the cat, and I especially love how you interpreted the letter A. Like that is just genius to me. The cat being upside down and the way the arm is moving and all that. I think that's genius, honestly.
I mean, I didn't see the eye and the ear, but then when I found it, I went, "Oh my god, that's a paw that's going over," and then these have that beautiful elegance of a cattail, and I love that the line is so thick and bold and that it's rounded at the edges, because that's that stereotypical Photoshop brush that you see, and usually we look at that brush, "Ah, yeah, it's that stupid brush," but it doesn't do that here.
No, you're so right about that. It's true.
Ethomorphous says the cat looks so soft and playful. Marissa says looks like the cat is doing a backflip. Charismatic says the cat's so fluffy. Now, why do we think, Jordan, that the cat looks soft and fluffy? Because it's not like Miranda drew individual hairs to show that.
I think a lot of it just has to do with the curvature of the entire word. Usually, when people write cat, it's just the round C and then the straight letters for the T. But the C and the letter T are curving all the way throughout, and I think it just gives this feeling of roundness, softness, cuteness, and we also recognize this pose once you see the image. Like we know what cats do for the most part.
Amanda says better than the cat's Broadway poster. I agree. That poster's it's a little boring, actually, if you think about it. So maybe they should give you a call, Miranda on Broadway. Okay, let's take a look at Ilya Shishkov. He is from Germany. And Ilya explains there are four designs. They're very random and different compared to each other. And there was a real range. Some of them took 2 hours, some of them just took 3 minutes. And so, what Ilya was doing was to experiment with writing styles and colors all through uniting them with gouache. And Ilya says, in general, I tried to keep the design simple, thus leaving them, quote, digestible for the observer while getting inspiration from relatives, friends, and my unconscious ideas. Yeah, there's a beautiful range of styles and means of articulation. What do you think, Jordan?
I think that this is incredibly fun. I think that oftentimes we get stuck focusing on one thing, but the fact that you did four images in four different styles, especially this one on the top left, like that one to me is just like, whoa, there's so much to look at there. I think you had a lot of fun with that, and just the way you're angling some of these forms with your painting and stuff. I love that. That's great.
Well, this one is so rich. I mean, it has a full out background. It has objects behind the letters, but then it's so much fun because you look at how sparse this one is, and yet you
Mhm.
still understand the presence of those lines. It's not like it's too empty or anything like that. So that's wonderful, Ilya. I think one thing we've really tried to push here at Art Prof is that it's fine to experiment with styles and you don't always have to paint the same way. So we're really happy to see that. Like Shasta says, the subtle organic irregularity of white letters borders looks so soft and fluffy. Oh, I think that's from Miranda's. Sorry about that. Um, Charismatic says, I kept thinking the clown one said laugh for some reason, was confused why it was spelled wrong. It just hit me and I went, oh, it looks a lot better. But it's cool because Jordan, a lot of people associate clowns with big hair and bright colored, and this is none of those things. Why is that a nice surprise?
I think it's a nice surprise because there's just enough there to show us that it is a clown. It's like the cat image. It's like you get it just enough, and I think is like really the red nose that does it, and the smile. Um, those two things speak clown. Doesn't matter what the hair looks like. Doesn't matter if they're wearing the big fancy shoes or whatever. You know, based on those simple motifs, and yeah, I can see how you would think it says laugh. That's really funny, but that's what clowns are supposed to do anyway. So it kind of works together either way.
RB Dick, thank you so much for the super sticker. We so much appreciate your support. As you all know, we need every bit of support that we can possibly get to keep our content 100% free and accessible to everybody. All right, let's take a look at Ginger Medrano, who I believe is live here in the chat. Ginger is from the US, and she says, I'm going to mispronounce this, patines is skates in Spanish. I tried to keep it simple and give it a bright and happy mood. Keeping it simple was a little bit challenging because I kept wanting to do more. Ginger says, I originally only planned on doing one word, but I liked my idea for the slimy one, so I decided to do it for fun. Well, Jordan, why is it hard to do designs that are simple? You think, oh, it's simple, that's less work, but it's not, it's more.
Yeah. Well, the way I'll compare it to something else. One cell of life is, I've heard, more complex in New York City at rush hour. So you think about all the stuff that's happening in New York, all the people talking on the phone, the subways, the businesses, the entertainment, all that stuff. One cell of life is more complex than that. So simple doesn't always mean, or small or simple doesn't always mean that it's actually that simple. And I think taking away things can make it even more challenging when you look at it that way. So I could totally see how you would struggle with something like that.
I love this one with the skates. I love that it's not in English either because we have such a international community. It's lovely to learn things about other languages. And I just think that the laces are brilliant because that's the whole thing when you put on these roller skates. It's like doing the lace and everything. I just feel like that captures that so well. And then even things like the sun is not
I
part of
lo-
the word, but why is the sun really fun?
I just love the first off, anytime I see a son smiling, it just makes me happy, right? It takes me back to those days of being a youngin. But it has the same kind of character. It's, all the lines are very loose and swirly and fun and bright, and the sun has that same exact energy, even though, as you said, it's not part of the word, it's part of the image. And I think it just all makes it really cohesive. It adds that extra little spot of happiness.
I'm so happy you did slimy ginger because those snails in the goo, oh, this is so much fun. And all the little highlights that I mean, it really looks mushy and juicy. And I don't know, I find it very satisfying the way you articulated the light. And the snails are fun because they look believable, but they're also not photorealistic snails. I mean, why do you think that works here, Jordan?
I think it's just part of the style. I think it feels like you can feel the intentionality behind all the mark making. And what I love about this personally is that I feel like I can imagine them actually crawling up those words. Like part of me is waiting for them to just move and keep going and finish up the rest of the letters and getting the slime on everything.
Well, Ginger says, I thought the slimy one was my worst one. Well, I think, Ginger, you're comparing apples and oranges. I don't think you can compare slimy to the skate because they're so different. I mean, this one is much more about three-dimensional form. Things feel like they have actual volume. This one's the total opposite. It doesn't have any volume because you have very flat, simple shapes, but that's exactly what we are attracted to. And so it's not that one is better, they're just different. And I think that's great that you're trying all those different things. We have some prizes to give out, and the honorable mention goes to Marissa. Congratulations. We were just thrilled with the way you articulated tiles. So wonderful work, Marissa. And the prize winner is Ginger. Nice work, Ginger. We're so happy that you did all this work on the art dare. We thought this was such an elegant, beautiful design. We thought slimy was wonderful. So everybody, thank you so much for participating in the art dare, because we just find it very inspirational to see what everybody comes up with. I guess Ginger sells a little bit surprised. Well, we're going to keep laying it on you in the Discord after the live stream. So congratulations, Ginger Cell,
Good
and
work,
also
everyone.
Marissa. Nice work, you guys. All right, let's talk about the March Art Dare. It's time for all of you to play around with comics, because guess what? We have a lot of comics resources and we have to start using them as a community. So this is the prompt: birthday party. Create a 4-panel comic of one of your own birthday parties or a birthday party you attended. Everybody has been to a birthday party of some sort. Hopefully you had a birthday party of your own at some point. And Jordan, birthday parties are funny because they're supposed to be so fun, but sometimes they're not. Or there's some drama, or like, you ever go to a party or maybe one of your own where there was drama?
Well, yes and no. I remember when I turned 5, my mom planned a surprise party for me. I did not know what a surprise party was because I was 5. And so I remember my mom had a friend of hers take me on an errand and take me to go see a movie and stuff. I came back and I walk home, my mom covers my face, and then suddenly she uncovers, and like 50 people, all my best friends and family, they all go like, surprise, and I start crying. I'm like, "Ah!" 5 years old, and I was so embarrassed. I didn't know what happened. I was like, "What is this? Like, why is everyone just appearing in front of me? This is weird." So yeah. The party was great after that. I got some good cake, and we had a Hercules jumper and all that, but it was a lot.
Oh, that's hilarious. I remember I had a birthday party in 4th grade. It was my birthday, and I got a Gem doll. Do people remember Gem? Jem. You probably don't remember, Jordan, but it was this like punk made up band, and it was a cartoon. It was really funny. And I got a Gem doll, and I remember she had blue hair. And there was a girl at my party who kept sulking. And I remember she just sat on the sofa holding my Gem doll, sulking the whole time. And she just ruined the whole party for me. And that's all I remember from that party. So I suspect
Dang.
a lot of us are going to go down memory lane and explore this, because some birthday parties are like that. I had another birthday party, my daughter's first 1-year-old birthday party. She walked for the first time.
Aw, that's awesome.
And I swear it's because she knew everybody was watching her. She was totally trying to put on a show. And I just thought that was hilarious. So this art dare, it's a comic, and it's a 4-panel comic. Why do you think in some ways that can be more challenging than, say, like a whole page where you can have as many panels as you want?
Well, one comic I like a lot that has 4 panels often is Calvin and Hobbes, and I'm always impressed by how much he's able to put in so little. It's the whole thing about simplicity we talked about a moment ago. Whittling things down, making things simpler can often be a big challenge because you have to inevitably leave out 99% of the stuff you really want to put in there. So it really forces you to pick the image that is going to tell your story the best.
And for that reason, this does require some brainstorming, writing down some ideas in advance, because you do have to plan out how you want to tell that story. And we do have this brainstorming track, which is brand new. We're very excited. You can use the brainstorming track. It has you go through a number of different exercises to get your ideas going if you're having trouble with that. And you can use whatever media you want. You could do digital. Clara Lieu, who did this birthday party, she did pen and ink and also with a brush. And so you can see here the final result. And this one is The Birthday Thieves by Jules Sharpe. And you can revisit the slideshow later and look at everybody's thumbnail sketches. She actually used this thing called a non-photo blue pencil, where you sketch in advance and then you do the inking. When you take a photograph of it, or no, when you put it through a scanner, the blue pencil disappears. This is something that a lot of comics artists use. It's really common. And we have a lot of examples here. I mean, isn't Peanuts the quintessential 4-panel comic, Jordan?
I guess so. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it came before Calvin Hobbes, so I can say that.
See?
And I love Peanuts. Yeah, I love Charlie Brown. I love Peanuts. All that stuff is fantastic.
And remember, the 4 panels, it does not have to be straight across. I think that you see very often because before the internet, people read the comics in a newspaper. And all the newspapers, you just have a 4-panel strip that went across. But what's fun about this, Jordan, having 2 and 2?
It forces you to read a slightly different way. I think, when you read after the second one, there's kind of a subtle stop that you have to do, and you have to kind of pause there for a little bit before your mind can go to panels 3 and 4. So it's just a different way of reading it. You could even change up the composition if you want it to be like a perfect, like have it as a square format inside the image, like maybe it's connecting some way. There's a lot you can really do with that. So don't let the simplicity fool you.
Amanda is asking, can our panels not be square? Absolutely. We have an example coming up in a little bit. If you want to make the panels circles, if you want the panels to overlap, I mean, have fun with that. This is the stereotypical 4-panel comic, but there's no reason you need to stick with that. And I also think, as Jane says, comic strip, not comic book. In the olden days, every day you'd get 4 panels from one comic, and that's all you would get. And then the next day you would read the next 4 panels. It was really slow to read I mean, we couldn't like binge watch Netflix back then. You had to wait in between all of the episodes. I mean, it was just painful to try to read everything.
Talk about a cliffhanger. Wow.
What's going on here, Jordan, with Bloom County with the panels?
Okay, so we have them all crooked. It looks kind of like photos being placed on top of each other, actually. That's actually really cool. And they're done in such a way where it's not messing with the image. Like, you can totally tell what's going on. You can read all the letters. And I think it just gives you a different interest level. Like, diagonals add a different level of interest than you would with a straight vertical panel.
Sunshine Witchery understands me. I remember reading comics in my grandma's newspaper, and I would get so impatient. Actually, the TV shows, if you missed an episode, that was it. There was no other option until they reread the whole season.
I think you all need a hug or something. This is just traumatizing, it sounds like.
It was a rough life, Jordan. You don't understand the pain.
I'll fly out to Utah so I can give you a hug.
Now, some of you may want to do the Art Dare Leap. This is not required. All you need to do to submit is just one comic strip. Now, this is if you want to do more. Some people like that extra nudge to do more work within a month. And so if you want to do the Art Dare Leap, pick 4 birthday parties and illustrate each of those. And we've had people do a lot of work based on the prompt. This is a wonderful, more old school comic called Moomin. Have you heard of this comic?
Not until about 2.5 seconds ago.
It's really weird. It's so random, but I love the characters, the way that they're designed. And you know what else? Every single Moomin 4-panel strip starts with a butt shot in
Are
the
you
first
serious?
panel. Yeah, they do. If you look at the books, they all have a butt in there. And so you can have fun with something like that.
I love that. That's amazing.
This is also my childhood. This is Brenda Starr, which was one of those soap opera comics. It always has like very serious, ridiculous romance with Brenda Starr, but she was a character designed by Dale Messick, who is a female comics artist, and that was kind of a big deal back then because a lot of the old school comics were all drawn by men, and the fact that she was able to break into the comics industry in that way was really wonderful. Join the Art Prof Discord in the Art Dares channel. Why is it helpful, Jordan, when doing the Art Dare to hang out with us in the Discord as opposed to doing it on your own?
When you have a community around you, it will help you come up with more creative ideas. You can get feedback. You can encourage other people who may be feeling down or stuck on their ideas. And so I think it's just a great way so we can all help each other grow and inspire each other.
A lot of people post their works in progress, their sketches. People will come in and say, "Hey, I've got this idea. Can anybody help me out?" And it's so fun when you watch the work develop and then you get to see some of it in the stream. And so if you're not in the Discord, you want to do the Art Dare, join us because it is so much fun. It's like 24/7 art party in there. And the Art Dare is not part of it. There's all not just one part of it. There are so many other parts to the Discord that are just wonderful. So if you want to get information on this month's Art Dare, you want to go to artprof.org, click on Learn and Create, find the Art Dares, and then you will eventually find the March Art Dare on this page. And the page has all sorts of information, links, and resources. You can revisit the slideshow. And to submit, you want to tag us on Instagram and use hashtag ArtProfDare. If you are not on social media, we do have a Google form on artprof.org, and this allows you to enter your work. And we love sharing your stuff on Instagram in our stories. Why is that so cool? I just tap through and I see all the entries. It's really fun.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you ask a
Why?
question? I think it froze for a
Yeah.
second.
I said, why is it cool to see all the entries in one place?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think it's awesome because again, you get to see what other people are doing, and oftentimes when we think about our ideas, we often get stuck. And you're like, how could I come up with this? And then you look at someone's work, and they come up with a solution that you never in a million years would have conceived. And so I think it's so interesting seeing all the varieties that people have when it comes to art dares.
We do give out prizes at the end of each Art Dare. There are many ways you can support Art Prof. You can make a one-time donation on PayPal. You can purchase a portfolio critique if you're going to art school, if you're an independent artist, you want a professional evaluation. And a big thank you to our top Patreon supporters. We have 2 new recent supporters, Anitium and Tiffany Lim Tang. Thank you so much for joining our Patreon supporters. But I'm sad today, Jordan, because we went down this week after going up for a little while. And so we need your help, everybody, because the Patreon is keeping Art Prof alive. And if it keeps going down, that's a problem. So everybody jump onto the Patreon. We've got rewards, exclusive content, all kinds of fun things. And we want to stay free and accessible. So help us out on the Patreon. Art Prof as a podcast is available on Spotify and also on iTunes. Subscribe to our channel for more art tutorials, critiques, and business tips. Everybody, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.